Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking a look at a really fascinating story. It's one of the most profound business transformations happening right now in global heavy industry.
Yeah, it really is.
We're talking about Komatsu, the century-old Japanese construction equipment giant, and specifically how they pulled off this massive pivot. They basically stopped just selling big yellow machines.
And started selling integrated digital outcomes. It's a textbook case of what academics call digital servitization.
Servitization.
And it absolutely did not come cheap. To make this happen, the leadership had to make a really audacious, high-stakes bet.
This is the big moment, right?
This is it. In 2018, the CEO, Tetsuji Ohashi, he proposed an investment of a staggering $1.6 billion,
Wow.
all to fund this comprehensive shift, which they branded smart construction.
$1.6 billion. I mean, that is a huge capital outlay for any established manufacturer, especially in a mature market like heavy equipment.
It's massive.
This wasn't just a tech upgrade. It sounds like a fundamental redefinition of the entire company. What was driving them to make such an aggressive move?
Well, they realized they were fighting a war on multiple fronts, and just making a slightly better excavator wasn't going to win it.
Okay.
The construction industry, globally, it faces these three really painful endemic problems. First, persistent and growing labor shortages.
Right. We hear about that all the time.
Second, productivity that just lags way behind almost every other major sector. Think manufacturing or logistics.
And the third.
And third, serious, unaddressed safety hazards.
So if the old model was just selling the iron, the new model, the servitization, means they're now selling the solution to those big industry problems.
Exactly. Servitization just means shifting your revenue away from that one-time sale of the product.
And toward what? Subscriptions?
Yep, toward things like subscription services, data analytics, consulting, anything that delivers a measurable outcome like efficiency or uptime or safety over the lifetime of a project.
And they had an aggressive goal for that new revenue, I take it.
Oh, incredibly aggressive. They aim to grow those smart construction revenues from just, tens of millions in 2019 to $300 million by 2025.
That's a huge jump. It really signals where they believe the true value is going to be.
It does.
So our mission today is to really unpack that massive undertaking. What does this solution actually entail, and how did they manage the organizational and technological chaos that must have come with it?
Yeah, it was a huge change.
So let's dive right in. What does the smart construction approach actually look like on a job site?
Well, the key realization for them was that isolated automation isn't enough. Komatsu already had a system, CoMTRX, that was pretty good at tracking a machine's health.
But that doesn't fix a workflow problem.
Exactly. A healthy machine sitting idle is still a problem. They needed a holistic service that integrated and connected the entire construction process digitally.
It sounds like they're creating a kind of a digital twin for the job site.
Yeah.
Like a virtual replica that exists right alongside the muddy real-world one.
That's a perfect way to put it. And they structured the whole thing around the 5 necessary phases of any big earth-moving project. It's a completely integrated digital workflow.
Okay, walk us through those 5 phases.
So it all begins with survey. Drones, or sometimes these specialized ground rovers, they scan the entire site and create these hyper-accurate 3D terrain maps.
Okay, that's step 1.
That data then feeds into design, where those maps are used to create sophisticated digital models, your blueprints. Then comes the plan phase, where AI algorithms generate the most optimal work schedule and earth-moving strategy.
And then the machines finally get to work.
Right. The most visible phase is construction, where all the connected GPS-guided machines execute the plan. And finally, inspection. Drones or rovers go back out and verify that the finished grades match the design with, centimeter-level accuracy.
Which minimizes costly rework.
Exactly.
When you lay it out like that, the core challenge becomes really obvious. Connectivity. You can have the smartest bulldozer on Earth, but if it doesn't know what the dump trucks are doing, or if the planning data is stale,
the whole system just fails.
Yeah.
And that's the fundamental truth that one of the Komatsu leaders, Shikashi Sheik, he highlighted this very early on. He said, an automated excavator, even the fastest one, is totally useless if the workflow is disconnected.
His example was about dump trucks, right?
Right. If the excavator is ready to load a dump truck, but the truck isn't there because of bad manual coordination, all that productivity just vanishes into thin air.
So how did they build that central nervous system to keep the whole 5-phase process in sync?
That was the job of a platform they developed around 2015 called ComConnect. It's cloud-based, and it visualizes all the site data in real time. It's the project's single source of truth.
And critically, it's not just for Komatsu machines.
That's the key. It pulls in the drone surveys, third-party software files, and even data from other brands of equipment. It was designed to be interoperable from day one.
Okay, that immediately raises the question of customer value. I mean, integrating an entire site sounds expensive and complicated. So what are the tangible gains that justify this massive tech shift?
The gains are powerful because they hit inefficiency across the whole project, not just one part of it. Komatsu's own case studies showed that on a standard 6-month, $1 million earth-moving project,
Okay.
contractors using smart construction saw a 14% reduction in the overall project cost.
14%. That is a huge number in that industry.
Yeah.
How does the technology actually translate into that kind of saving?
A lot of it comes down to precision and just reducing rework. For example, using their intelligent GPS-guided dozers, they could cut the time it takes to clear and level a site by up to two-thirds.
Two-thirds.
Yeah, compared to conventional methods. The machine is always digging to the exact specified grade. And that's why the volume of earth moved per man-hour shot up by a stunning 32% in their tests.
Less rework equals massive savings. I get that.
It really does.
So that handles the productivity angle, but let's talk about the demographic ticking time bomb, that labor crisis.
Yeah.
How does smart construction help a contractor who just can't find skilled operators?
This is maybe the most human and pragmatic part of the whole solution. Komatsu uses what they call their ICT machines, information and communication technology, like the PC200i10 semi-automatic excavator,
Okay.
to essentially transfer decades of expert know-how from the machine itself into the hands of a brand new operator.
Wait, how does the machine possess know-how?
It's the sensory feedback loop. So in conventional digging, an operator needs immense skill to constantly judge the grade, the depth, the angle of the bucket. They're using stakes in the ground, constant manual checks.
It's an art form, really.
It is. But the ICT machine has high-precision GPS and sensors that constantly know the exact location of the bucket relative to that 3D design file.
So the machine handles the precision and the operator just drives.
Pretty much. The machine physically prevents the operator from digging too deep or too shallow. So a relatively inexperienced operator can get expert-level, centimeter-accurate results just by using a joystick for direction. The machine does the hard part.
So that completely changes the labor equation. The scenario shifts from needing, say, 6 older veterans who are all retiring
To what?
to a much leaner, maybe younger team. A contractor could use 2 younger operators with maybe 2 experienced supervisors and 1 smart excavator.
And get the same work done or even better work. And you've just eased the strain of that aging workforce. It's a huge force multiplier.
And we can't forget safety, which is often a sort of hidden cost in construction. The technology is enabling almost sci-fi levels of remote operation now.
Oh, absolutely. The debut of smart construction teleoperation in 2024 is a breakthrough. Operators don't even need to be on site anymore.
They're in those cockpits, right?
Yes, these specialized high-tech control rooms, Komatsu calls them intelligent circle or even spaceship cockpits, and from there they can remotely control machines located miles away.
Which is huge for disaster cleanup or mining.
Huge. Any high-risk area, it keeps people safe and sound.
Okay, so moving from the machines to the business side of it, Komatsu had to understand they couldn't just sell one giant integrated system. The solution needed to be modular.
Absolutely. They had to make it easy for dealers to sell and for customers to adopt it piece by piece. So in 2020, they rolled out a suite of 11 productized smart construction solutions.
Like what?
Things like smart construction design to digitize blueprints, smart construction remote to send design files to a machine or help an operator from the office, and then the dashboard and insight tools for managers to see all the data.
But the really disruptive move, the one that I think shifted the entire strategic game, was the Smart Construction Retrofit Kit.
That kit was a brilliant, almost counterintuitive move. I mean, at the time, 98% of the equipment on global job sites was conventional, just regular, unconnected machines.
Already owned by customer.
Exactly. If Komatsu just waited for everyone to buy new machines, they'd lose a decade. So the retrofit kit could instantly upgrade any hydraulic excavator. And this is the key part.
Go on.
Even competitor brands into a 3D-guided, semi-automatic machine.
Okay, I have to stop you there. Doesn't that run the massive business risk of commoditizing your own high-margin iron? I mean, why would a hardware company actively help a customer run Komatsu software on a Caterpillar machine?
It's a classic platform strategy shift. Komatsu recognized that the future revenue was in the data and the ecosystem, not just the steel.
So they were playing a longer game.
A much longer game. By embracing an open platform, they minimized customer friction and just accelerated adoption like crazy. They decided that the value was shifting from the machine sale to the long-term subscription and consulting. They prioritized building a huge user base over protecting their hardware moat.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But they also nudged the market forward by just making these features standard on their new machines.
Correct. The PC200 i12 excavator, for instance, it just comes factory equipped with 3D guidance and connectivity. They're essentially making smart the new standard, forcing the rest of the industry to follow them.
So let's turn to some milestones. They started this whole thing in Japan, and it seems like the external environment there gave them a huge boost.
It really did. By 2019, they had this on over 10,000 work sites in Japan. And a critical factor was the Japanese government's I-construction policy.
Okay, what was that?
It was a policy that didn't just encourage this technology, it actively incentivized contractors on public works projects to adopt digital methods. Better contracts were linked to using this kind of tech.
So a government push was crucial for overcoming that initial conservatism in the industry.
Absolutely.
This open platform idea, it seems so critical. The decision to launch Landlog back in 2017, an open data platform that feels almost unbelievable coming from a traditional manufacturer.
It was revolutionary. They took the core of their internal ComConnect system and just spun it out, creating Landlog as an independent platform.
Like an app store for job site solutions.
Exactly. It was a massive trust signal to customers that they weren't trying to create vendor lock-in. By 2019, Landlog already had 60 third-party partners contributing everything from smart glasses for workers to fuel optimization apps.
And that strategic push led to the creation of EarthBrain.
Yes. In 2021, they carved out the whole smart construction unit and merged it with Landlog to create EarthBrain. And this wasn't just a rebrand, it was a huge structural move. They brought in external capital and expertise from partners like NTT Docomo and Sony.
Sony's semiconductor arm, which is a fascinating detail. Why them?
Because Komatsu knew that to go global, they needed world-class expertise in data processing and sensing technology and reliable digital infrastructure. Things that heavy machinery companies just don't specialize in. EarthBrain became the vehicle for that.
Okay, we've covered the tech, the partnerships. But let's talk about what was probably the toughest hurdle, the internal organizational change. The sales teams were used to selling tangible iron, not intangible software subscriptions.
That cultural shock was massive. You have dealers who know everything about engine specs but struggle to explain the ROI of a software license.
So how did they solve that?
Komatsu's solution was very tactical. They embedded about 300 dedicated smart construction consultants right inside its global dealership network.
A parallel sales force, basically.
Precisely. And these consultants, many recruited from outside Komatsu, they spoke the language of job site foremen. Their whole job was solving the last mile problem. Going on site, setting up the base stations, calibrating drones, training the operators.
They were focused on delivering the outcome, the 14% cost reduction, not just selling a box.
That was it. And it was the defining factor. It proved that success wasn't just in the tech, but in the ongoing support that actually delivered the savings.
Let's briefly touch on the competition. You mentioned the open platform. How did Komatsu's approach really differ from, say, Caterpillar, the market leader?
Well, Caterpillar with its C-Cat Connect and C-Command systems, they were definitely pushing digital, but they tended to focus more on individual products within their own ecosystem.
A walled garden approach.
Sort of. Komatsu, in contrast, focused on full process integration and that open platform. The willingness to let the retrofit kits work on competitor machines, that was the key differentiator. It positioned Komatsu as the orchestrator of the whole job site, no matter who made the bulldozer.
So, synthesizing all this, Komatsu has fundamentally redefined itself. What does this mean for their future revenue streams?
It means they have successfully executed servitization. The new revenue streams are recurring and high margin. You're talking subscription licenses, platform access fees via EarthBrain, data analytics, consulting. They've moved from selling products to selling predictable, efficient outcomes.
And this is no longer just a Japan story.
No, not at all. They've rolled out in phases across the USA, UK, Germany, France, Australia. All countries chosen because they face similar labor and productivity pressures and are open to innovation.
And looking forward, where does this all end? You mentioned remote operation. Is full autonomy the next logical step?
Absolutely. The path is set. Komatsu has already partnered with a Japanese startup called Tier 4 with the specific goal of developing fully autonomous construction dump trucks. They're aiming for practical use by 2027.
Wow.
The vision is a minimal human construction site.
The ultimate takeaway here seems crystal clear. Komatsu moved way up the value chain. They went from just making equipment to mining data and orchestrating the entire worksite.
The whole transformation highlights that the future competitive battleground in heavy industry is shifting completely. It's no longer about whose excavator is bigger or stronger.
It's about.
It's about whose open ecosystem delivers the most measurable value and productivity over the entire project lifecycle. That is the defining metric from now on.
That is a phenomenal synthesis of this story, and it leads us perfectly to our final provocative thought for you to explore. If Komatsu's vision includes a remote operator in a Tokyo spaceship cockpit, controlling an excavator thousands of miles away, what major regulatory or logistical hurdles, things like data sovereignty, connectivity reliability, or cross-border liability, must still be overcome to achieve Komatsu's full vision of a totally autonomous construction site integrated with smart city infrastructure by the 2030s?
A fascinating convergence of technology, law, and logistics to think about.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the audacious transformation of Komatsu. We appreciate you providing the excellent source material for today's discussion. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of our Digital Servitization Exchange podcast. We hope the insights sparked new ideas, challenged assumptions, and brought clarity to the evolving world of service and digital-driven business models. This podcast is grounded in extensive research across various fields, drawing on years of academic work, case studies, and cutting-edge publications. It also shaped by hands-on experience of our collaboration partners, whose real-world challenges and successes help us to translate theory into practice. If you enjoyed the episode, consider following the podcast and sharing it with colleagues who are navigating the civilization journey. Your support helps us continuing bridging high-quality research-based and practice-proven perspectives straight to your ears. Thank you for tuning in and see you in the next episode.